Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Monthly chart of CIFR, ticker symbol CIFR. Just gonna go through these real quick here. I like the chart. Had a bullish cross a couple months ago back in January. You can see that price has gotten above the Tenkan and Kijun and kind of back tested the Tenkan here a little bit, or at least getting pretty close to it. Right now is actually above this big volume shelf over here. Is kind of trying to fight for some of these resistance right above. But the big volume shelf right here around 4.3 or so, it kind of back tested this over. It looks like it's kind of holding. I like that. It's back testing things actually. It's a pretty bullish indication. The other very bullish indication is that it had a bullish cross, the Tenkan Kijun cross, and use both of these as support, if you will. So a lot of back testing has already happened. Price has already consolidated for about 9 or 10 months sideways within this big giant volume shelf over here. And I think consolidation it has already kind of carried through its course. I'll show you on the weekly chart here. It shows a very, very nice pattern actually in terms of accumulation, in terms of potential breakout. It looks like a very, very bullish kind of thing. I'm actually very, very tempted to buy CIFR if it still stays below this price, by the end of the week. I might actually potentially start a position in the CIFR. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here with the Bollinger Band. Putting out Bollinger Band here. The Bollinger Band is, price kind of started out with touching the upper Bollinger Band, but kind of got pushed down below, but that's okay. Majority of the time is spent almost close to a year now at the upper part of the Bollinger Band here, developing a very, very nice bull trend and push the price up. 20-month moving average is kind of, is looping around, is kind of forming a little bit of a nice cup to push the price potentially up higher a lot more. And basically you have a few very, very big green candles over here that are filled with volume. So these are real kind of, buy signal or buy pressure, if you will. This is a very, very nice chart. I really like the fact that it's consolidated this long, which means a lot of energy has been building up. Also like the fact that there's all the appropriate back tests that have been done on the Ichimoku Cloud and Tenkan Kijun, as well as on the volume shelf over here. So this is a pretty decent risk-reward ratio if you ask me. It could potentially go back a lot lower, but I don't think it has to. It's a very, very nice trend. If you look at the weekly, you can see a very, very interesting pattern over here. You can see a big giant cup over here, maybe a little bit of a handle here forming, a little bit of like a second smaller cup over here. And it looks like it was potentially about to break out last week. It didn't end up doing that. It still hit resistance, came back down a little bit. But so far, this is just a little bit of like a higher low before potentially build a little bit more energy over here to finish up the cup, to push price even potentially even a lot higher. If you look at some of the indicators, just pull the boring support band over here, and it's just been oscillated over here for really closer to like 9 months or so. It's just been going sideways over here, building a ton of energy around the bull market support band here. Right now is really starting to look like it's, instead of just being flat, it looks like it's starting to kind of curl up here a little bit. And there's a potential that the start of this bull trend, I'm going to pull up the 20, 50, and 100. There's a potential that this start of this nice separation between 20 and 50 over here could serve as a very, very nice beginning of bull trend and push the price up a lot higher. All three of these 20, 50, and 100 weekly moving averages are starting to point up. So all of these are very positive sign that it's potentially is going to end up pushing the price up a lot higher moving forward. And right now it's just trying to break about this current resistance over here that it has spent a long time trying to do. Now, you can see the price bounce right at this very, very nice volume shelf at the top of this big giant volume shelf over here. It looks like it might be ready soon. I mean, it might take another few weeks, who knows, right? But it really looks like it's very, very nice, nicely forming a very nice weekly bull trend. Buying volume also been, really, really nicely increasing. So there's really good potential it might end up breaking out within a few weeks, and I'm potentially interested in starting a position in this. I'm not telling you what to do, just telling you what I'm doing, or what I might be doing. I might not end up doing it, but I'm interested. If you look at the Ichimoku Cloud, the weekly Ichimoku Cloud is also very interesting. It's kind of just been breaking above the cloud, went sideways, back tested the cloud, found support, pushed back up. Now the weekly Tenkan crossing above the weekly Kijun over here, back tested the Tenkan. This week so far seemed to find support, bounce back up. I like the whole look here. It just looks like a good look. I don't know how else to describe it. The weekly looks good. The monthly looks good. This is one of those that it does have a very interesting look to it. Now, in addition to CIFR, there's one that is kind of just lagging behind, but also has a very, very similar look to CIFR is RIOT. It also has a big giant cup over here. And keeps forming these little tiny, smaller handles. But you are starting to get a little bit of an increase in demand over here. So we'll see what happens. This still looks a little bit kind of like an accumulation look to it. If you just pull up the monthly chart, just to keep it a little bit more consistent, I'm just going to start everybody here on the monthly. If you look at a monthly chart, you can see that price is kind of finding support. This big giant volume shelf here has been bouncing between these two volume shelves for a very long time. And right now it's banging down to like closer to like the bottom of this range right here. But it's been doing that for about like 8 or 9 months now. Put up some of the indicators to kind of show you what we're looking at here. There's, a trend for inflow. The inflow is not as impulsive as CleanSpark, Mara, or Bitfarms, but it's still a pretty decent inflow. And price kind of went sideways here for about, 8 or 9 months, although the inflow seems to be slowly trending up. That's a positive sign. The other positive sign is if you look over at the Bollinger Band, the 20-month moving average is starting to curl up here as well, forming a very, very nice cup. The price to spend about 8, 9, 10 months at the upper part of the Bollinger Band. So all this is pretty promising. 20-month moving average is curling up and potentially continue to serve as support to kind of push the price up a lot higher, hopefully above this volume shelf over here. Once price gets about 20, I think it's when things might potentially start to get a little bit more fun for RIOT. But you still don't have that. The Bollinger Band actually still hasn't expanded. If anything, it's still crawling here a little bit. It's coiling because price hasn't really done anything for about like 10 months. So it's actually coiling here a little bit. Once price really truly find a direction, it can get pretty exponential. I would want to say that this here actually looks a little bit like what it does over here, because price actually, went sideways for months, and the Bollinger Band is actually coiling, even though there's a little bit of a bullish trend here starting to develop. I think it might be very, very equivalent to like maybe over here, maybe kind of similar to over here. But we'll see. There's no guarantee you're going to end up having something like this. There's like nothing's ever guaranteed, but it's starting to be a little bit more constructive here. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud, you had a bullish cross, but you're also at risk for having another bearish cross here. I would really like to see the month close above both of this to at least kind of help drag the Tenkan up a little bit higher to avoid a bearish cross, because otherwise you're just talking about sideways, But that's okay. That's exactly what price has been doing over the last year, just kind of gone sideways. But it did have a bullish cross. I'm going to give it the benefit of a doubt, but it is lagging behind a lot of the other ones that you just looked at. Bitfarms, Mara, CleanSpark, CIFR. The other ones look more ready to go. That's just the truth. And right now, price on the weekly had bounced below the weekly Ichimoku cloud, below both Tenkan and Kijun. Although this downtrend over here is pretty obviously happening with declining volume. So I do think the selling volume is starting to really get exhausted right around here. But it is still lagging behind a lot of the key indicators down here. And if you look at let's just put the boring support band, it's just been above, below, above, below, above, below. There's no trend. It's just sideways in the short term. In the long term, on the monthly, you start seeing a little bit of a bullish trend on the Bollinger Band, but on the weekly, the trend is not that clear. If you want to put up to 50 and 100, though, it does tell you that this is a little bit of a bull trend that's still going. Although I would like to see nicer separation between the 20 and 50. Instead, they're just kind of starting coming a little bit together, and it's starting to kind of point downwards here a little bit. So it's a little bit lackluster, but it doesn't always have to be, because the selling volumes seem to be a little bit exhausted, and all it takes probably is just a few green candles to kind of reverse this kind of going sideways kind of action. But so far, you still have a bull trend. objectively speaking. 20 above, 50 above 100. And even 100 is starting to kind of crawl, flatten a little bit positive. So that's RIOT. A little bit of a laggard, unfortunately. And the other one I want to look at, which is something that's completely different, is HUT 8. Looking at the monthly, it's just been going sideways. It's not doing too much. It is looking like it did over here. It might end up breaking up, but it might end up going sideways a little bit longer. I don't know what it's trying to do. It can go sideways a lot longer. I don't know. That's the very truth. They're started to have a little bit of inflow over here. Look at the blackhead trend flow, fund flow trend in oscillator. You started to have a little bit of a well inflow over here last month. You have a buy signal over here, but so far this month price went down or went sideways here a little bit, and the trend still looks like there's a little bit of increasing inflow over here. So I still think a lot of nice energy is being built up here. There's a potential because HUT does own a lot of Bitcoin. They do have a pretty huge hodler stack, so that's going to worth something. There's a potential that as Bitcoin goes up parabolically, HUT 8 could as well. Although their mining business is, so far I'm not sure exactly what they're doing. Regardless, so far prices dropped back down and is still kind of stuck at this big giant volume shelf up here. I don't think HUD is going to get too much fun until it breaks about 20, and it looks like it's still a little bit far below. Last week everybody might have been a little bit too bullish over here when price just kind of go up like 15-20% a day. And guess what? Like price can also go down 15% in a day. This is just how it goes. These are volatile stock. They're very small cap. They're associated with Bitcoin prices. So they're also associated with small cap indexes because they're small cap stocks. They're very volatile. That's why trend matters a lot more than the actual price. And if you look at the Bollinger Band, you can see that things are starting to kind of come around here. You're starting to see that the 20-month moving average is starting to curl and flatten. And as it flattens, you can see that price is kind of hugging this flattened 20-month moving average and trying to find a direction. There's not really a whole lot of expansion here on the Bollinger Band. It's still squeezing because it really hasn't done anything for the last 2 years. So it's still trying to determine the price. It's still stuck at this volume shelf, and it's still not spending the majority of the time on the upper part of the Bollinger Band. There is no bull trend yet for HUD on this monthly chart. If you look at the Ichimoku Cloud, there's no cross. Price is still below the Tenkan, and we're trying to get price back above Tenkan and use it as support before going up. That could take months. It's still not happening yet. If you look over at the weekly, let's see whether or not the weekly is telling us that we have a bull trend or not. We do not. Guess what happened last week? Got rejected at 50 moving average. Guess what happened this week? Because it got rejected from 50, formed a little bit of like a tweezer top right here. Price got rejected, bounced below the 100, bounced below the 20. Both of these are flattening, so I actually don't think that they're going to be that bad of a support. Price might just end up oscillating here for a little bit longer before going up. This is the nature of not having a confirmed bull trend. If you look at the weekly Ichimoku Cloud, price did find support over here today on this weekly Tenkan. So it might use Tenkan as a springboard to kind of bounce a little higher, although it might end up also just oscillating around the Tenkan before going up higher. I do not know, but so far, again, you don't have the benefit of a bull trend here with HUT, so it can go up 10, 20, 30%, it can go down 15, 20%, and nobody can say anything about it. It's just volatile, and it hasn't really picked a direction yet. So what's fun about these miners is once they pick a direction and they go up like 20% a day, and they do that for day after day after day after day after day after day after day, you might see that once things get rolling. So that's why I'm not really caring to trade these, smaller moves. Some people think I'm crazy, but anyway. I want to kind of end the video here. I was originally going to talk about the other two smaller miners, but I'm going to save them for a separate video. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.